stairs and there was water at the top of the steps. And I came in with a pair of Crocs on, so never wear Crocs.
What's your steps made out of? Is it like concrete or wood or
The
something?
top is concrete. It was a tough tumble.
I bet. Any idea how long you're out for?
I don't, but when I came here, I could breathe, because I had knocked all my lungs were deflated.
Yeah.
So,
Went to a head over heel?
no, just right down.
Right down. Scoot all
I
the way
went
down.
back.
Did your wife hear you go down the steps?
So
you're just sitting there
Catch
forever.
some breath and come up the steps. I walked in the house. She said, "What the hell happened to you?" I said, "Well, you were no help." But I'm feeling pretty good now.
So as a lawyer, would that be attempted murder or negligence on her part for leaving
Well,
the water out?
It's funny because my brother-in-law lives next door, and I called Gibb and I told him about it, and he said, "Well, obviously your wife didn't try hard enough."
You start seeing ice down there tomorrow. I have some questions. You know, they gotta freeze a lot of this stuff.
But I'm very lucky to be here and be this comfortable, honestly.
Well, that's good to hear that you're doing okay. But
We ready?
Colin wanted me to talk to you about this EV charging station contract.
Yeah.
Did you get that? The big question is now how the RMAs do together is because these people don't understand how other third-party charging networks can't charge for them, and they're willing to do that. I read this way,
It's 7 o'clock. Call the Oglesby City Council meeting to order.
Algebrite?
Here.
Cullinan?
Here.
Curran?
here.
Udis?
Here.
Guevara?
Here. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I need to approve the minutes from the August 15th, 2022 regular meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the August 15th, 2022 regular meeting.
Second.
Algebrite?
Aye.
Cullinan? Curran?
Aye.
Udis?
Aye.
Guevara?
Aye. Public comments on agenda items only. What's your name for the record, Rich?
Rich Baldridge. I once again want to voice my opinion in disagreement with Mr. Curran and yourself's proposal to raise the video gaming license fees. There were a lot of things I wanted to say about it. I'm not gonna get personal about it. I don't agree with it. I don't think it's fair. I also believe that I had more agreement with it when it was agreed upon 50% to 75% was going to be allotted for the business downtown area. There are other bigger towns that don't even have this, like Yorkville and that. They're way bigger than us. Ottawa, I believe, I don't remember the numbers right now. Ottawa has higher population, but is bringing in less money than the city of Oglesby is. That's a nice little fun fact, I think. I don't think you guys even studied anything like that. I don't think you guys looked into it. I don't think you guys really even care that it could be detrimental to our businesses. I really don't. There's a lot of talk about how much you guys want to help out businesses in town, and just by having a thing over here at Seneca Square once a year isn't really helping out downtown down here. And if you guys want to micromanage businesses, I'd be more than happy to come up here with my taxes and start giving the city of Oglesby the money that I'm bringing in, and they can micromanage that business as well. But that's something that we've invested in our businesses in order to do better for ourselves. If Sam's Pizza up here put in a new oven, would you guys go up there and ask them, hey, Sam, you're making 40 pizzas now instead of a night, instead of 30. We're gonna take another, we want not only 5% that we're already getting from you, but we wanna hit you for another $1,000 a year, Sam. But there's no other businesses. You guys don't even have the businesses that come into this town. There's no business fees, there's no nothing. You guys raised our liquor license by $100 3 years ago. Just coincidentally, was the same time that the mayor, who was not you, made a proposal to up the liquor commissioner's fees, I believe, is what was going on then. So that went up to $500 a month for the mayor to be the liquor commissioner. That came right off the city liquor license taxes. There's a number of other things that we have to pay that I can tell you, you guys haven't looked into it, and you don't, I understand that the gas stations out here are bringing in a lot of money, and I understand you wanna get into that, I would want to as well. I feel that the city should as well. But the small businesses in your downtown, you're definitely not gonna be helping them by doing this. It's gonna hurt. You guys don't understand the other things, and someone had mentioned infrastructure before, and I had said then, these buildings are all falling apart. Like, there's things that you guys don't see. I'm doing things that you guys don't even know. You guys are gonna pay $120,000 to do 3 feet at the top of that building over here. I did how much on mine? How much do you think that cost? It wasn't $120,000, but it was me doing that for, what, 2 summers? I just did the sidewalks down there. I'm trying to do my best too. I don't need somebody coming in and taking a little, if there is any money there, and you've seen the, right there in front of you, you have all the numbers. There's not a lot of money. I don't come up here and ask you guys for TIF money or anything like that. I'm not asking for anything. What I'm asking is just to, I'll keep my business, and the city should be ran by the city. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Lisa Carrico. I also wanted to come up and say a few things about number 9 on the agenda. When the talk was in the beginning about raising our VGT licensing, it was suggested that they wanted to do it for parks and scholarships for scholarships for students. We had asked if 75% of that could go to the business district beautification, not downtown, business district. We were told at one point it couldn't be earmarked because it went into a general fund, but I don't understand if it can't be earmarked for business district beautification, how can it be earmarked for, say, playground equipment or scholarships? I did look at the proposal that was sent out, the ordinance. There is no mention of any kind of percentage in there. It's the same one that was here a month ago. And I wasn't at the meeting, and the video had failed. So I did FOIA the recording. And last meeting, there was a little bit of a debate whether or not something was said. And Mayor Rivera, you did say you would go 50% on the recording. And I mean, I have it, it's at 21 minutes and 20 seconds. So I mean, I think that should stay in the minutes, but that's just a comment. The other thing I wanted to know is why nothing has ever been discussed about VGT licensing. There's different licensing for bars, truck stops. I had suggested once in the past, why can't we have different fees for each place, and was told, no, that couldn't be done. We are a home ruled town.
No, we're not.
No,
No, we're not.
a
We're not.
home-ruled
No,
town.
we're not home rule.
So that isn't,
That's not a possibility.
it's not a possibility.
No.
Okay.
The same license fee has to apply across the board. Truck stops are allowed more terminals than
They
bars
are.
are.
They're allowed
But that's
10,
about the only distinction in the statute.
and they're also allowed to stay open a lot more. Their video games run longer than ours do.
Well, that I can see because they're open 24 hours a day. And as a bar, you would not be allowed to be open 24 hours a day, having just a liquor license in a bar facility. So there are different controls in place, but the license fees have to be the same across the board.
Okay, all right. But I hope you take into consideration that not everybody's making Love's Truck Stop money. When you're looking at this, some of the numbers that were thrown out way in the beginning was just way over the top. So, and I don't go to somebody else's boss and say, how dare you make $60,000 a year? Nobody, you know, I mean, just because certain places are making more money, you shouldn't be able to take more from them. But I mean, by the time we're done paying the electricity, the other fees we have to pay, the taxes on that money, it's not what is in black and white. So I mean, take that into consideration.
I'm gonna respond to your and Rich's citing. We did this over 3 years, and it's split between the minimum between the bar owners and the terminal people that own the gaming terminals, 50-50. We did it over 3 years for the simple reason to try to, because not everybody, you're right, not everybody is making what Love's money is. I do know what's been gambled in the first 6 months. I've done a little bit of research on how much that people took in 21. The establishments, and if you go down the line, and I will tell you that Love's is the big gorilla in the house, but it was the establishment shares last year for 21 was $932,566.16. That was at $25 per machine. If I'm not mistaken and my math is correct, and I left out some, Walnut Street last year was $279,853.41. If you've taken a look at what we have spent in the last 3 years, the city has spent on Walnut Street facade agreement $102,823.07. We looked at taking a look at Seneca Square. We spent $108,673.02 to try to make it more attractive to get people to come. We're looking at things to bring people to Oglesby. We know we gotta do some signage advertisement. We've gotta upgrade in our parks. We're looking at a number of different things to have people come to Oglesby. So, it's not that we're not doing anything about it. Go ahead, Rich.
I'm sure you've noticed in the last few months here, since you started that, would you say it was around April or so, you started trying to get that money, was it? Probably been about 6, 7 meetings. How many constituents have you had here uptown from bars? You had 2 constituents come in here the last, 4 meetings? And put 25% stoppage down there on that parking lot that was so necessary for the town, but people just stopped it. It stopped 25% from 2 people coming in here saying they didn't want it to exit out the back alley. 2 people. We've had these bar owners here, we've all been here every single time, plus other things. And we're also going to other meetings trying to do this beautification. And if we bring up Seneca Square off of the backs of the bars, that's pretty crazy because that was done long ago. You guys were gonna.
No, wait a minute. The money that we sent on Seneca Square hasn't come from your money that's been brought in.
That's part of the beautification thing that.
We've used, where have we gotten the money?
I don't know, they were gonna spend $1.4 million, they said they had $400,000.
Let me tell you where we've gotten it. We've used TIF money and pillow tax money.
Maybe you use the
We
5%.
will continue to try to use that.
How much money from the 5% of the machines came from us? $138,000?
Goes in a general fund.
Oh,
That's the
but-
law.
So there you go for that. So
Goes in a general fund. The money that we're using, that we use for facade and for the Seneca Square has account for TIF and pillow tax money.
The machines weren't even in the equation back when this tip was started. Not even, they weren't even dreamt of. 5% I feel is very fair. These places out here aren't getting that. They're not paying them taxes. What's Love's paying a year in taxes? What's the GFI not paying in taxes? We're paying our taxes very, very well. Everybody, I think, owns a house as well as their bar. We're paying them taxes. You're getting that 5%. You're getting liquor license fees. There's a lot of things that is not, just aren't.
And you're making money.
I'm making money, Dom, I'll tell you what, come take my books. Take my books and then you can take out a percentage of that. A percentage is good. Taking just an overall thing and putting us in the same equation, the same stuff as Love's out there, is wrong. It's not right. They're making hundreds of thousands of dollars. I haven't made that in the whole time I've been here. How do you-
Now, because I know what you make.
I do too, I'm sure, it's public knowledge. How much is there, Dom?
Yours, this year,
Go ahead, yeah.
I know I got it.
What do you think the percentage is that the city would then be getting when I'm making that much? On top of the 5% that you guys get automatically right off the top.
I don't have these, I can't find it where I've got it totaled up.
Anyone else have it?
I didn't bring it with me.
All right, I'll say, I believe it's probably
What?
5,000 or 6,000. I don't think it's that high.
At the end of 20, for the year establishment share for 2021, last year was $21,330.28.
That's crazy. What was the 6 months of this year?
I don't think that's on here, Rich.
I don't have the 6 months total on yours.
This I got in March and I didn't have it. It wasn't
In
on the
March,
web-
I didn't have anything.
They didn't have it posted on the website.
I wouldn't have had anything in March. I showed you the papers already done. I don't feel it's fair. You know you're getting that 5%. Okay, I think it's wrong. I think you guys are just, it's gotta stop. There's enough. Everything's gone up. Everybody's hurting. We're trying to run businesses and stay in this town. What happens if people leave? Like, it's coming to that, Don. I'm telling you right now. It's getting real close. Things aren't great right now for anybody. I'm telling you.
I understand, that's why we try to do it over 3 years.
It doesn't hurt. You guys can just raise taxes. We can't raise the beer price and say, hey, sit down, the next beer is gonna be $6. We can't do that. It's impossible. You guys could raise taxes, and if you can't afford it, you get out of town. Well, in the bar, they don't come in no more, and then you just close and leave.
I need a motion and second to approve bills as presented for payment.
I do have a couple items here. On the bills, there was 3 items. One was for, 2 for Garzanelli's, 1 for Conrad. That was for the concrete program. They didn't get their receipts in to us. However, just today, I think the one from Conrad did come in. However, we would have shortchanged them. So I'm gonna recommend that we remove the concrete ones until we get all the receipts and we can pay them the proper amounts that they need. And then the other item is, one of the items we talked about was from Red Flint. That was one of the things that we authorized the materials for the iron plant. We talked about if we could use that via ARPA funds, and we can. So in here, I see that it's coded for partial TIF, partial general fund. I'd like to make a recommendation that we spend all 55,000 of that from the ARPA funds, because we want to make sure that we're justifying what we're using the ARPA funds for fixing infrastructure problems.
Okay.
So, with those changes, I'd make a motion to approve the bills as presented for payment.
Second.
Augubright.
Aye.
Cullinan. Udis.
Aye.
Rivera.
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry, current. You made the motion.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Okay, number 7 is approve the consideration of the recommendation of the planning commission on the text amendment to the Oglesby Land Development Code to allow freestanding signs as a permit use by special use permit in a B1 downtown commercial district and possible approval of the text amendment.
So I can run with this, Dom, if you want. The
Please.
planning commission met just before this meeting to consider two things. One is this text amendment in number 7. The other is the issuance of a special use permit in number 8, if they approve the text amendment. The planning commission considered it. This is for a sign at Mr. Salz's. There's a pole on the corner, but it did not have a sign on it within the last 90 days, and they would like to put a sign on it. Once it's not there for 90 days, it's not a non-conforming governing use. Your B1 code prohibits freestanding signs in B1 districts. So in order to even consider a way to allow this to occur, you would have to do a text amendment to allow freestanding signs in the B1 commercial district, which is essentially just downtown in Oglesby. And my suggestion was to do it by special use permit only. So you would have to look at every request for a freestanding sign in the downtown area before it could be allowed to go forward. So the planning commission considered that, and they recommended the text amendment to allow freestanding signs in a B1 downtown commercial district by special use permit.
So with that explanation, I'll entertain a motion. And second.
I just want to say before we do that, I was originally going to say no to both of these, and it's not that I have any problem with the sign at all. I think it's fine. The plan commission met on it. My concern, I just want to restate, is the same reason I voted no sending it to the plan, or getting this on here, is because April 18th, we started sending other items to the plan commission that I think are a significantly higher priority than a single sign. And we haven't done that yet. So I won't object to voting for them, but I just want to make that point that we still have things that involve building inspections, electrical inspections, and the building permit process that still need to be handled. So just want to throw that out there.
Okay, we'll get them scheduled.
All right. If no other questions, I'll make a motion to approve the recommendation of the Plan Commission on a text amendment to the Oglesby Land Development Code to allow freestanding signs as a permitted use by special use permit in a B1 downtown commercial district and possible approval. Well, I guess it's just, that's kind of a weird way to, I'll just stop it at the word district.
Second.
Augubright.
Aye.
Cullinan.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye.
Udis.
Aye.
Rivera.
Aye.
So then the planning commission actually went on to consider the special use permit request for the sign at the location of Mr. Salz's. They discussed it. They discussed the fact that it couldn't hang off the property. It has to be fully on the property. They discussed the fact that it didn't seem to be a sign that was going to be flashing or anything. It was just a lit sign. And they recommended that the council agree to a special use permit for the sign that's requested for the Mr. Salz's property.
Pat, would this be contingent upon the building inspector saying?
Oh,
that it's not-
absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, no,
That
he's
it
got to
meets all
inspect it
criteria.
all electrically, all of that's got to go on.
Okay.
That all has to be approved.
There's a height limitation, Terry, they're gonna be mindful of that, I think it's 25 feet. You know, it can't be higher than 25 feet, so if necessary, they'll have to cut the pole down to accommodate that. Or they could petition for a variance and come back and reconsider it all again.
But it isn't gonna be a flashing, it's just gonna be a
Just a solid,
solid
yeah.
sign. So do I have a motion?
I'll
and
make a
second?
motion, we approve the consideration, recommendation of the planning commission on a request for a special use permit by Rita Artiega for a freestanding sign at 309 East Walnut Street, and possible approval of that special use permit.
Second.
Augubright.
Aye.
Cullinan. Curran.
Aye.
Udis.
Aye.
Rivera.
Aye. Next is number 9. Approve 1189-090622, an ordinance amending section 5.102.010 of the municipal code of the city of Oglesby relating to video gaming terminal fees.
I'd just like to make a comment, since my name was thrown out there by Mr. Baldridge, about what I was looking to support, because I don't know if that was entirely accurate. So I will say, the way it's written, I don't have a problem with that. I do agree with what the mayor stated originally, that there's no benefit for the city to limit ourselves of how we spend our funds that come in. So I agree with that reasoning. I also agree with Mr. Udis's recommendation that he had for setting a certain amount of aside for beautification projects. I don't think that's a problem either. In fact, I think a lot of the recommendations that we saw from the business owners were quite fantastic. The problem is, most of those recommendations, they cost money. So my thought process is, if we're gonna put a restriction on there of 50% or 75% or whatever that percentage is, if I was gonna support it, my thought process is that you should take the fees all the way up to the maximum immediately. I mean, if you're gonna, going by the business's recommendation of spending all this money on different things, then I'd say, why wait? Why should we wait if we're gonna try to fix these problems? So I would support either ordinance. If we wanna just stair step it right now, with no limitations on how we technically spend the money, even though we are already doing beautification projects, or if you wanna put a limitation in it that says 75%, but then that means we take it right to the max. I'll support either one of those. And I know that the mayor's on one side, Terry's on the other, and I think Tommy's probably going to abstain. So then the real question comes down, you're the deciding vote there.
I do understand, some people are hurting, and the gaming is keeping them in business. But we also have to look and invest to advertise, to make sure we got people coming to Oglesby. I think one of the things that it was pointed out, and we understand, signage, advertising businesses and what goes on in Oglesby is important. We have to upgrade parks and playground equipment. We're looking to do a whole couple things. Cully and I will get together a little bit later on and make sure we're both on the same page. But everything costs money. What we have been doing and how we've been getting and spending the money, trying to do it very wisely, is using TIF money and hotel motax money. There's things we can do. Volleyball courts seem to be a big thing. We're looking to put hopefully a stage at Seneca Square, upgrade basketball courts, Frisbee golf, Merrill's, trying to do different things to create people to come to Oglesby. Place to live, a place to play, a place to dine, a place to have fun. Do I have a motion or a second?
I'd be good for either one. I don't know if there'll be a second, but I don't have a problem with it. So I'll go motion to approve ordinance 1189-090622, an ordinance amending section 5.102.010 of the municipal code of the city of Oglesby related to video gaming terminal fees.
Okay. Died for a laugh of a second.
So can I ask before we move on, so this is the second time it's been up here and it's died twice. So either we're gonna keep putting it up, or should we have a discussion about what we actually wanna do?
Well, we can have that. I thought we had enough people committed to it tonight. Apparently I was wrong.
Tell me what the hell you wanna do.
Well, I've said what I will support either way on one of two options. Does anybody else have anything else they'd like to talk about it?
You know, one thing that people have to understand, this gaming, whatever you wanna call it, fees, has to be deposited into the general fund, period. And what that amount to is, right now, we collect $1,675 a year for all the 67 gaming machines in the city, of which today, the gaming fees are either paid 50% by the terminal owners, and in a lot of cases, 100%. So,
Yeah, they can't cover 100%, Tom.
Pardon?
The vendor can't cover 100%.
50%
By
is the
law, all they
max,
can
yeah.
cover is 50%.
well, it's my understanding that they could cover, that in some places it was 100.
I don't think
If
so.
I'm wrong in error on that,
It's
then I was
50%.
told wrong.
Yeah, I just talked to our guy 2 weeks ago about
Is that a
this,
home
so.
rule thing that they can do 100% or something like that then?
Home
State
rule,
law
they can do whatever
says,
they want.
yeah,
So either
home
way, it
rule,
don't
yeah.
matter.
Home rule is a different animal, we'll never be at, so we can talk about it, but.
I'm just wondering.
So
what-
basically, what it amounts to, it's going from, after 3 years, it'd go from 25 to 125 per establishment owners.
For their half, yes.
We can move on. I'm done talking
I mean,
about it.
to speak to my point, I could support what we talked about before. I wouldn't support anything except for the stair stepping with the percentage given to downtown revitalization. That's what I could support.
What are you talking about, downtown revitalization?
Putting the
Beautification.
money into our downtown, earmarking it for that purpose.
Wouldn't you think it'd be money better spent to get the people to come here? Then you can come
Well,
and do that
I think
thing?
a nice downtown does bring people here, Don. I think that when you go to a town like Ottawa or Utica and you walk down there and you see how nice it looks, that brings people to your town.
I understand that, but what have we been doing that? We've been spending money downtown.
I think we could invest even more.
I
And-
don't have a problem investing in downtown. I just don't wanna get us in a position where we're mandated to spend X amount of dollars.
And I
understand your position.
agree with both points. So because of that, I agree that we could spend more down there. But if we're gonna do that, and we're gonna let the businesses dictate where we're gonna spend the money, I don't think there's a problem with raising the fee even to the maximum allowable amount then.
I wouldn't be in favor of that, Jason, I don't think.
I'd really like to hear input from our other two commissioners that are very
Well, from what I
quiet.
understand, they won't dictate where we're gonna spend the money anywhere. They're gonna come to us with projects, we're gonna approve it. So it's still in the council's hand, A. And B,
Correct.
yeah, it's in the general fund, but look at the state of Illinois. The general fund, they can spend that on anything they want. So why don't we take the state of Illinois' opinion here, and we can still use that money. It's just it goes into the general fund and can come out of there. Or if you wanna use a different fund,
Nobody-
it's the same amount of dollar amount.
Nobody is saying that we will not spend money downtown. We have done that.
Personally,
We have.
personally, for how little they've invested downtown over the last 25 years, all the fees should go to downtown because Utica's getting 1.2 million to build the little Santa's Village or whatever it is. Ottawa, I can only imagine what they spent on the murals alone, and we've spent $200,000, $300,000. So it's nowhere near what those other municipalities have spent. And so, if we maxed it out, it's $10,000 some dollars a year. That's a drop in the bucket to what these other cities are
What did-
spending on their
what did you say?
downtowns.
Tell me how much?
If it was max, wasn't it $10,000
It
or
was
something?
16,000.
16,000.
16.
Either way, compared to 1.2 million for Santa's Village here, I still don't think it's gonna do much, but that's just my personal opinion that they haven't spent it on downtown at all. Besides tearing down buildings, I don't know what really, don't get me wrong, the facade program, Seneca Square, but besides that,
You mean the
there's a
facade?
lot more potential besides that.
You mean the facade
I-
program that you
I
yourself
don't have-
took in?
I
Oh,
don't
yeah,
have,
I
wait
can't
a minute.
complain about it.
Wait a minute. Let's just, nobody has a problem with trying to take money and improve the downtown. I don't think anybody on this council has a problem with doing that. Let's not take and say we're gonna spend X amount of dollars. Let's take it project by project. If you spend the money to get people to come here, you can take some of that money and do upgrades in downtown area or do projects. You know, somebody had suggested, you know, what, we can put decorative lighting up. Hell, the infrastructure won't handle it. That's why you see the wires in the air, because the underground is shot. And I know people don't like to talk about the infrastructure. But we've got to try to get a balanced approach to this. Some years you might be able to do more things downtown. Other years you have to do some things out there. But you've got to develop a program and a reason why people need to come to Oglesby. If you go by LaSalle, on Sundays, if I'm running over that way for something, that volleyball court is full. It's a thing that draws people in. The Frisbee golf, I know we're looking at that. That's a big thing. That's for people to come. I understand that we've got to do things downtown to make it more attractive. We are looking at murals. But it takes time, it takes money, and we've got some buildings that the owners have given us a green light that, hey, we can do that. Some I'm not so sure that they meet the criteria that we could put one on there. But it's a stage. I'm not opposed to working with the business group to say, okay, this year we can do this.
So, I mean, everybody's weighed in here, so that's why I just asked you
Yeah.
directly, what's your thoughts?
My thoughts is, to get people to come to Oglesby, we have to have something to offer.
That's right.
We don't have a lot to offer.
Well, that's why we've got to do some of these things.
First of all, we need to try to get businesses to come in here so they can pick up a lot of that tax that we need, the tax money, and have people come to Oglesby for that reason. Not rely on gaming money. I mean, gaming money is gaming money, but it's not gonna get us where we need to be. We need businesses to come in here. I don't see anybody beating the door down to get in here.
Well, I agree with what you're saying. Like Tommy's point, it really is a drop in the bucket compared to everything else. I mean, there's a whole other bunch of programs I'd be happy to talk about, but in regards to the gaming tax money, how would you like to see that applied? You're kind of the deciding factor here since we have a split vote decision here, so.
It's kind of a rough area, and I really don't wanna, I mean, I don't know what they're making, but I know they got overheads and there's other things that they're paying on. And, I just, like I said, to just rely on gaming money is not the
We're not
matter.
relying totally on gaming money.
I don't think we have been, I mean.
Well, that's all we got right now, that's
Well-
what you guys are looking for.
Well, that's what we're that's the thing in front of us. I mean, gaming money's not what put together Seneca Square, what we have. So that's why the question is, what do you want to do about this particular topic and how you'd like to apply it?
And I'm just gonna keep going here. So the gaming companies split advertising. Do you know what they spend on advertising between all the gaming places in the area, in town? More than Oglesby's does on advertising itself, I can tell you that much. And compared to the $200 or $250 fee, the gaming company, one advertisement on the radio or something, that could be over $1,000.
Sure.
So, I think they are advertising Oglesby, whether, you know, it's bar slots, either way, they're just talking about Oglesby, I'm like, I don't know if we've ever really done anything besides the LaSalle County Flyer. If we really want to bring people to Oglesby, why aren't we advertising first year? That's my question.
So what is it that you're are you recommending that we should never raise the fees?
I don't have a say either way. I could care
You
less.
do have a say. You
but-
might, whether you abstain or not, your opinion matters because you're a member of the council.
But I would want to see it go somewhere either way. Like, it's gonna go to the general fund, it's gonna get lost, like the state of Illinois just loses money. It's the same thing, is how I'm looking at it.
That's why I said I didn't have a
Yeah.
problem with dictating how,
Well,
a
that's
percentage of
why-
it going to downtown.
That's why we've taken money out of the hotel motel and the TIF money. That's where we need to spend the money, and that's where we have been spending it from.
Going off of that, I think we should have goals and timelines too, because we talk about, oh, we'll do a project here, we'll do this, we'll do that, but I think we should have some hard dates or goals and that kind of stuff to get us to where we want to be, because right now, we've been talking about downtown since I've been on this council for 4 years now, and we just got Seneca Square done this year, literally 3 years to get to that. So unless we plan on it, goal it, that kind of stuff, it's gonna be the next council's problem.
I understand. It's taken us 3 years to get Seneca Square where it is. But also, we've done that on a low budget. We've done that all with city employees. And it's taken some time. Are we done discussing this, or if nobody's gonna do anything or make a proposal or we get a second, let's just move on and try to get it done in the next meeting. I'm gonna go to number 10. Introduction of Oglesby newest police officer, Wesley, is it Budash?
Budak.
And oath of office.
Wesley, want to come up? This is our newest police officer, Wesley Budak. Welcome to the force. Can you have it come up here, raise your right hand, if you will. Raise your right hand. I, Wesley Budak,
I, Wesley Budak,
haven't been appointed to the position of patrolman
haven't been appointed to the position of patrolman
in the city of Oglesby,
in the city of Oglesby,
in the county of LaSalle,
in the county of LaSalle,
September 6, 2022.
September 6, 2022.
Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
to support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of patrolman
of patrolman
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Welcome forward.
Thank you so much.
We're gonna have his family member come up and pin his badge on him. Who do you have doing that, Wes?
My wife Megan.
His wife Megan's gonna pin his badge. Don't stick him. No pressure. Got a bad shoulder.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, welcome
Thank you.
aboard.
Thank you.
Next is approve the raffle license application for the Oglesby Firefighters Association.
I'll make motion, we approve the raffle license for the Oglesby Firefighters Association.
Second.
Augubright.
Aye.
Cullinan.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye.
Judas.
Aye.
Navarro.
Aye. Approve request from the Knights of Columbus for a Tootsie Roll Drive to be held on September 17, 2022 at the corners of Columbia and Walnut Street.
It's been brought to my attention that I guess number 12 and number 13 are tag day requests. If you look at our ordinance that was, and I think I was in the audience out there in 2017 when this came up. I guess the problem was they were getting different tag day requests all throughout the year and all kinds of problems. So they actually created an ordinance that talks about that all of them have to be in before March 15th, and it actually only runs April through September. So I'm not sure why that is. I think I asked in the clerk's office today, and they think that the Knights of Columbus one has to do with something that their head charter above them doesn't get the authorization or information until later in the year. And I talked to the president of the Illinois Valley Dolphins swim team, and they were not aware that we even had an ordinance. Apparently, they don't do it every year. I don't have an issue approving either one of these, but I don't know how much and how restrictive should we actually be following our own ordinance that we have.
That's never been enforced since it got passed. Every year we've passed, because the Tootsie Roll Day is set by the National Knights of Columbus every year, and that is the weekend every single year they do it.
Correct. And I
I
think
can't
that's,
tell you why, to tell you the truth, but there's a reason they do it on that weekend.
I do think that's what the clerk's office did tell me. But the other one, falls even outside the range in our ordinance. So that's why I'm just curious, should we be changing our ordinance? I mean, or
Well, I
should we
think we're not gonna
just
follow
ignore
it, we
it?
should probably change it.
I mean, I don't have a problem for nonprofit organizations trying to raise money for doing great things in the community. I don't have a problem with that, but I'm just saying we should probably modify our ordinance if we're not gonna wanna follow it then.
Let's cut out that paragraph.
Well, I
Well-
never read it, Jason, but if you want to modify it, we certainly could delete.
This should be a quick one, Pat.
There's one line that says all the dates have to be in by more, that's why I think in the beginning of the year, we have a big list that have all of them. Because I guess, from my understanding from what I heard was that they'd get all these different numbers in at different dates, and people would argue for which dates they'd have, and
And I think the city, like the fire and ambulance, got first dibs, is another reason they wanted to have it all at once, but.
it actually says in there that the fire, ambulance, and police stuff is not subject to these rules.
Oh, okay, well then.
Because they're,
I don't know why we
because they're
did that.
specifically arguing, I think it says it in one of those. But the two lines there's one line in the beginning that says March 15th, and then it says somewhere else that they're not supposed to be outside of April to September.
Yeah, it says in the first line, in the first paragraph, the city intends to limit the number of solicitation days, tag days at the intersections of Walnut and Columbia to no more than 12 solicitation tag days during the months of April to September of each year. Doesn't say you can't hold them outside those months. It just says they want to limit the number during those months. Number two, any not-for-profit organization desiring to hold a solicitation day, tag day, at the intersection of Walnut and Columbia must submit an application for their tag day to the city no later than March 15 of the calendar year in which the solicitation is being requested. That's the one that could present a problem. You could eliminate that paragraph, or you could say, that being said, we withhold the authority to approve a tag day outside that limitation. If there's, like the Knights of Columbus one. where
That
they
happens
can't
every
fix it.
year.
I think part of the problem, we were getting so many requests for tag days for so many different personal projects rather than for a nonprofit. Let's take a look at how we can revise it so we don't get in this mess.
So recommending that we approve these two probably, but then
I would,
we should look
I
at
would
our.
ask that the council recommend these two requests.
All right, I don't have a problem. Anything else?
I need a motion second.
I'll make a motion to approve the request from Knights of Columbus for the Tootsie Roll Drive to be held on September 17th at the corners of Columbus and Walnut Streets.
Second.
Columbia and Walnut.
Yeah, it says Columbus. What am I thinking? Just what it says.
Columbia.
Aye.
Tommy, I think before I did.
Okay. Augubright.
Aye.
Cullinan.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye.
Udis.
Aye.
Rivera.
Aye. 13, and approve the request from the Illinois Valley Dolphin Swim Team for a tag day to be held on October 1st, 2022 at the corners of Columbia and Walnut Street.
I'll make a motion to approve the request from the Illinois Valley Dolphin Swim Team for a tag day to be held October 1st, 2022 at the corners of Columbia and Walnut Streets.
Second.
Augubright.
Aye.
Cullinan.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye.
Udis.
Aye.
Rivera.
Aye. Next is declare the week of September 5th, 2022 as National Payroll Week. Could I have a motion and second on that?
I will make a motion for National Payroll Week.
I'll second.
Augubright.
Aye.
Cullinan.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye.
Udis.
Aye.
Rivera.
Aye. Next is declare the week of September 17th as Constitution Week. This is requested by the National Society of the Daughters of the American Revolution.
I'll make a motion to declare the week of September 17, 2022 as Constitution Week.
Second.
Augubright.
Aye.
Cullinan.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye.
Udis.
Aye.
Rivera.
Aye. Next is authorize Chamberlain Associates to seek bid for clearing of trees and orders to complete surveying for the engineering designs for the future water waste treatment plant.
So-
I'd also like to include in that, don't look surprised, Jim, that we consider, if the barn and house have to come down, why don't we do it all?
Guessing those are different companies.
Okay?
We can put that in there. So let me explain what this was for here. So a couple weeks, maybe a month ago or so, I was actually it was longer than that, because I meant to have it on the last meeting, but I slipped my mind. We were talking about some of the final designs for the wastewater treatment plant. And for them to go any further with that, they have to be able to do boring samples and things like that to get our what's the word I'm looking for? No, what certificate do we need to get before we can even get any grants or anything? What was that called? The permit process. So, because I actually didn't want to spend hardly any money on this if we don't have to. I'd want to wait until we get all our funding in. But before we can get funding requests and things like that, we have to complete the permit. For them to complete the permit, they have to do all their boring samples. And for them to do their boring samples, they have to have the land and space clear with all the trees and everything like that. So that's what this is for, to do that. I didn't think that was going to be including that building yet, because I thought we were waiting for that junk be gone thing that we authorized to clear out all the stuff.
Well, I think we should separate it because it's different companies, and if I was a private business owner, I'd GC one of them and charge us more just because I'm gonna hire this guy, am I right? You know, that kind of stuff, but are we talking about clearing like the whole area? How much clearing are we doing here is my question.
It's the land around, so if you go down there right now, you have the current area, right? Then you have
Yeah.
the drying beds. That area that has a bit of the hillside and all those trees there, I don't have the exact, do you remember the square footage offhand, or? 7.2 acres. Yeah, yeah,
Why don't we just hire our own team now, but
yeah. So-
what's that estimate at?
108,000.
That's low. All right.
So that's, again, that's not constructing anything, that's just clearing the trees and the landscaping so they can get in there to do their boring equipment and everything, or not boring equipment, core
7 acres
samples.
on a hillside, if it comes anywhere near 100, I'll be blown away. That's what I'm saying, but.
That's the estimate they gave me, so, but I mean, if we wanna do a separate one, do we wanna do the building stuff at the same time, or?
I thought the house was gonna be the command center or whatever, though.
That, they call that Headworks, is that correct? Basically, that's where the testing is, that's where all the first stuff comes in, and then it kinda goes downhill from there, yeah.
So that's gonna have to get ripped out before they can.
It is
build
gonna
that
have to
part
get ripped
anyway.
down before they have to build something, but I don't think they have to rip that down to do their core samples.
Okay.
And that was here's my, again, I think I've talked about this, my concern is, we have until, I think, 2026 to get our funding locked in, and then the next month is when the construction's supposed to start. So my goal was to get us in that window of the longest time possible to get funding, because if we can get, $15 to $20 million project paid for, that means we can obviously redo our water rates and water structure and all that kind of stuff like that. So I want to give us the most amount of time, but unfortunately, they can't go any further until they can get the permit process, and they gotta do the core samples and all that. So do we want to just do the land right now, or do you want to do something with the building as well?
Well, that barn has to come out of there, doesn't it?
All it has to come out. Last I remember we were waiting on was the Junk Be Gone people that we authorized to go and remove all the stuff. And to my knowledge, it's not been removed yet.
I guess my question is, Jason, is it gonna save us any money if we bid them both at the same time, or is it gonna be
I
the
was
same
looking-
regardless?
I can't answer that. All we talked about was the excavation of the land. and
But it'd be
everything
two
like that.
separate companies.
More than likely, I'm gonna guess, yeah.
Yeah.
So unless, do we want to seek bids for both? On two separate ones, or what do people feel? all I'm concerned about.
separate them either way is how I feel.
Right. All I'm concerned about right now is getting things moving so we can get closer to getting our permit process, so we can get funding if something comes out.
Well, I wanna
And-
get us ready so we can start,
With the,
not have to go back and tear down the barn. If, you know, the house can wait till later, okay, but if we don't need it, and it's gonna go anyway,
Yeah.
uh,
We can always seek bids, but I don't have an
but
estimate for you. to
most
give you.
likely that'd be EPA or whatever funding we do get grant would cover part of that too, if not a chunk of that to clear the land. I
Well,
would
that's,
guess as
well, that's why I didn't even wanna clear the
Yeah.
land, because I wanted to get everything
well,
wrapped
maybe
up
we just
into it.
get the trees done now and then we'll look.
Whatever it takes to get to the next step is how I look at it. Just
Right.
keep kicking it until hopefully
Let's
we
do.
get grant money, which.
All right, that sounds good. Any other questions on that? I'll make a motion to authorize Chamberlain and Associates to seek bids for clearing trees in order to complete surveying for engineering designs for future wastewater treatment plant.
Second.
Augubright.
Aye.
Cullinan. Curran.
Aye.
Udis.
Aye.
Rivera.
Aye. Next on the agenda is discuss policy regarding sewer credit policy and procedures.
So I think.
Jason, you come up with a beautiful sword.
Well, I haven't looked at it in a couple weeks because our last meeting was 3 weeks ago, and when you suggested that I do it, I took on the next day. It took me 2 days, but I put something together. The first part is a sewer credits policy, and the second one is a sewer credits procedure. Quick summary here is I sent it out to mayor and commissioners ahead of time to ask if they had any input on it. I didn't really get any input on it, so I have in here, again, this is not going to be an ordinance. This is just a policy, and I put in there specifically at the end, 3 things that can remove it. The commissioner in charge of the wastewater treatment plant can remove one of the items of the list or the policy completely. The commissioner of accounts and finance deems the cost of the city to be too great and removes one of the items from the list and cancels the policy completely. Or a majority vote of the city council can remove one of the items or cancel the list in its entirety. What it does is it does 4 things. 2 of them we're already doing. I don't know, do you want me to read the whole thing, or it's kind of wordy? I'll just say there's 4 areas. One is the pool credits. We're already doing that, right? It's the same method, it's just actually writing it down on a procedure. People call in, tell them the size of the pool, when their date was completed, they take a look at the database and everything, and they find out how much water they use, and they give them a credit for that on their sewer usage. The running toilet credit. Basically, if a resident or a business finds it unusual, because here's the problem, let's say they got a basement toilet and it's been running for a month and a half. They might not know about it until the water bill comes in, and it can be a crazy high water bill. If that's the case, we take a look at it, we average their months beforehand, and we give them a one-time credit and put a notation into the system, so if you ever have a second running toilet, you're tough luck, I guess. The 2 new items is a new sod installation credit and a newly seeded lawn credit. I had to look at quite a few websites to try to figure out how much the average water usage is for sod, the new water usage for seeded lawns, and I came up with a comparable to that. So basically, like if you had a newly sodded lawn, I think 10,000 square feet would end up coming up to like $300 is that what you would get for the amount of water you need on it. Seeded lawns are a little bit more because you have to run them a little longer. Without reading everything, that is everything in a nutshell. Does anybody have any questions, concerns, comments, or suggestions or modifications?
Well, I think it sets some guidelines and it's fair, it's more than fair.
Now, this doesn't solve the problems with people saying they're concerned about watering their gardens or their lawns in general, or
No,
washing
we're
cars.
We're not gonna get into that.
I think, to me, this is a very fair way to do something. It's something that never existed before, and it does make things better. And if somebody's trying to fix their, one last thing, the seeded lawn credit is only if they're seeding at least half of their property. So I think there's value in the city making sure people got nice lawns and stuff. So if no one has a problem with it, do I even have to do a motion if it's a policy?
Jason, one question.
Sure.
Number 4, seeding the lawns. It just says that reseeds at least half of their property. What happens if it's a new lawn? And they're just seeding it for the first
They're
time?
saying I should have the word reseed/seed.
Well, or just get rid of re. It seeds at least half of their property. I'm just trying to point out a potential problem.
Hey, I'll tell you what, after all these words, if that's your only issue, I'm good with that.
Well, I didn't read the whole thing, but that jumped out at me, because it says newly seeded lawns credit, but then it says reseed. So I think it should just say any resident or business that seeds at least
All right.
half of their property.
All right, I'll change that to seeds lawn.
That would be my suggestion.
Okay.
And then I do think you should make a motion to approve the new Oglesby sewer credit policy with that change.
You don't think there's, the way I have it written, though, you don't think that's a problem, though, if I make a motion for it and the council approves it? Because I have in here that either the council finance commissioner or the waste, who's ever the water commissioner, either one of them could remove it. My concern is if you get people, remove the whole policy altogether. So my concern is,
I think the council should do that.
Yeah, why would you want them to do that?
so there's a lot of times that his office over there has to do a lot of work and extra work and stuff like that. If this ends up becoming such a massive burden, because some of these things might not be much. I mean, the pool credits, for example, as we said, they range from there was one that was $160, one was down to $8. I mean, most of them are in the $20 to $30 range. If this is gonna be taking like 50 to 100 hours of their time doing these types of things, I could foresee a scenario to where the commissioner says, hey, I don't need to be adding man hours to
And I
my,
think they need to come back to the council and amend the policy if it becomes burdensome, Jason.
so you think all that stuff in the bottom should be?
I don't think you should adopt a policy and then allow somebody else to nix it.
My understanding was policy versus ordinances, that's what it was allowed. Like, I have a couple policies in the electric department of where they're, have to wear gloves or things like that.
If you give them discretion, I would say that's true, Jason, but this is, you're allowing them to just nix the whole policy. I think that's a council decision.
Hmm.
Again, I didn't read it all, but if I'm understanding you correctly, if the Commissioner of Accounts and Finance deems the cost of the city to be too great, they can cancel the
Do you-
policy completely.
Do you wanna just table it till next council meeting so you can make sure everything is wordsmithed correctly?
We can do that. I got a lady that's very upset that she resod her lawn and one of the. In all fairness, I talked to her after I already had it written, but I told her, I said, hopefully you'll see something probably approved on Tuesday and, you know, we'll get you happy there. They're probably gonna be not happy then, but, Tommy, what do you think about that? Cause it's your employees that have to manage all this stuff.
I think the council would approve it if we figure out that, and I'd be blown away if we had more than one every 2 weeks that would do this, but if it became that, I think the council would definitely understand that, hey, I'm using 10 hours a week from an employee that I do not have that time to give up for this. I'd be okay with it either way.
So in other words, I should just strike those two things, the commissioner in charge of wastewater treatment plant, the commissioner, just remove that and leave the part about the majority vote of the council then?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not worried.
All right, with reseed, change to seeds, and the removal of the specific commissioner's authority to remove it, I'll make a motion to approve the Oglesby Sewer Credits Policy 1-1 and Oglesby Sewer Credits Procedure 1-2.
Second.
Augubright.
Aye.
Cullinan.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye.
Udis.
Aye.
Rivara.
Aye. Next, we had all the liquor licenses are gone. And we've had a request to increase the liquor license for a potential liquor store.
So actually, you had two requests for
Right.
one liquor license, and they both came in on the same day. All the information got here in the same day. One via email, and it's my understanding anyway, one via email and one via postal mail. And it's a question on what the clerk's office opened up first and second as to who the first one had all their ducks in a row, and that's the one Dom gave the license to. But the other party who requested the license the same day is requesting that you increase the number of licenses so as to allow them to put a liquor store in town.
So we're going from 0 to 1, or to 2?
0 to 2.
0 to 2. Plus Bex and
And
BP and Shell and Casey's
Love's.
and Love's. I didn't know if Love's sold liquor or not. I think they do.
I think they just sell beer. I don't know that they sell liquor.
Do they all sell hard liquor?
Well, and you don't
I
have
don't
to
think
stop
all-
at one license. I mean, you could give yourself a buffer by increasing the number of licenses by one or two or whatever you wanna do. So that you don't have to revisit this issue every time there's another request. And then you have some available, but that's completely a decision for you guys as to whether you wanna have licenses open, but,
When was the last time this was expanded? These are some questions I have that, I have no idea, because I feel like that's probably been around forever, that amount.
If I recall, granted, I'm not trying to bring up number 9 again, but I think when we were talking a month or two ago or whatever, some of the recommendations that from the audience was about not opening, because isn't the video game licenses tied to the liquor license in some
in the sense
relation?
that you can't get a video game license unless you have a liquor license.
So, and I think somebody, I'm not sure which bar owner it was, but they talked about limiting to make sure that people aren't gonna expand out of control. I don't have a problem if, and I think that's where I said, I don't have a problem, like if a new business were to come in, that, like a new restaurant or a new, I don't know, entertainment venue of some sort that brings something different into the city to have a liquor license for it. I almost think we should take it down to 0 liquor license, and then that way we can control which new business would come in that wants to have liquor possibly.
So basically, what you're proposing then is that anybody that goes out of business, that reduces the number of licenses.
Well, that's a whole different,
That'd be another.
that's a whole different
vote,
ballgame, but.
Yeah, and that would take action by the council to do
Yeah.
that every time.
No, the request came in.
You're at
And,
0 now, and you have a request for a license.
I thought we
That's
had,
where you are.
I thought we had one left.
You did have one
No,
left.
you did have one.
And that person took it.
And by law, the first one that completed the paperwork, that's the one that got the license.
So, and I'm not trying to tell what commercial property should do, but do we need to have more than one liquor store in the city that dedicates themselves to liquors? I mean, can LaSalle have 15 Rudy's? I think they have like 2 or 3, but something like that. But I mean, do we want to have 10 Rudy's in Oglesby? Is that helpful?
Well, and I think it's, the slots is why they're probably gonna open it, if I had to guess.
better
I
believe it.
don't know what kind of profit margins are at liquor stores right now, but I don't think it's too high. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that, because.
If you take a look at people that bring in gaming, you know, the basic liquor stores or the vets are taking
Yeah.
a ton.
Well, you know, I don't know. I don't know what we have in town right now. I want to say Beck's, I want to say there's been a time I've gone down to get some kind of hard liquor, but I don't think it's a wide, I don't think it's a wide selection. So I don't have a problem with a dedicated liquor store coming to town, because then it offers something that we don't have. But do we want to open up more licenses just so more of them can be created?
Hey, that's why I put it before the council. Because we're 0, the question has been raised.
Is there any way to legally tie a liquor license that it cannot have video gambling? Can we issue a license that, and then we tell them it's not valid for, okay,
No.
okay.
Only if we're home ruled, I think.
Probably.
Yeah, so.
I'd like to see it to where we have some control over a business wants to come in and, I don't know, like I think I used it, let's say a Buffalo Wild Wings or an entertainment complex wanted to go at 39 and Walnut out there of some sort. I'd like to be able to say, hey, that's what we want to negotiate with them, and we can you open up a liquor license for a specific business? Is that legal?
You can.
Well, I'm
And
sure that
that's
we could.
Sort of where you are tonight. This gentleman is requesting that you open up a liquor license to allow a liquor store to come into town. Because you don't
An
have one
additional
on the
liquor
books now.
store.
An additional liquor store.
It's just amazing that we've got 2 in a month. Blows my mind, but. My,
Ron's raising his hand.
Question in the same area, Gregory Gosner. Does the state of Illinois limit the liquor store carryout to a separate shop, or can that be put into a tavern's license?
So it can't be a
Different
tavern
It's a
license,
different license.
it's a
But I can
liquor
get both.
store license. That's that's what we,
Can any of our existing bars make
Yes.
a conversion
Well, they could,
so
but I
that they
think,
could do both?
I wanna say there might be a way they could do
the
both. if they wanted
bars
to,
and
but-
I, the bars can, again, correct me if I'm wrong, and I hate to use anybody, well, I use Lizzie. If you want to, somebody wants us to buy a 6-pack or a 12-pack to take out, you can sell it to them.
Yeah, you have to have
Yeah.
the package license.
Yeah, but but it's not, you
What
can't
about
sell,
hard liquor?
Yeah,
can you do that
Can or
too?
you can't?
yeah.
If you have the right license, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like me and, I don't know.
There's something different. I do know that some of the taverns have them and some don't.
Well, apparently someone seems to think that this town has enough carry-out business to build another business. And my question to the bar owners is, if that's the case, is one of you missing a boat? I'm only making a suggestion.
Well, and they could say they're getting a liquor store license, and we could give them another one, they can open a bar for, as soon as we just raise it, correct? Like, if we raise it, he doesn't, yeah,
So-
he could get the license, say, hey, I'm opening a liquor store,
So
but I don't
Pat-
think it really matter for us.
So Pat, let me ask you, this one liquor, the one liquor license that we have that
There's
went
a
to this.
difference in fees. Yeah,
The one liquor license that we have assigned to this business that's going to build, do they have a certain amount of time that they can hold this liquor license without building an establishment, or do they have to be operational in a certain amount of time to hold the liquor license,
I
for
don't think
example?
so. I think it's.
So they can hold it indefinitely?
because we've got a couple liquor licenses that are out that have not opened up.
People aren't using them, sometimes they sit on them, Jason.
They don't have the buildings complete.
So what kind of authority do we have with those kind of situations? Because I'd hate to hold up a business that actually has money and potential in a location that wants to create economic opportunity, but we're holding off because we've given it to somebody else that will build.
In this particular case, the owner of the business saying that, the list was getting short and that people were interested, he went in and got his license before he completed his building, remodeling it or whatever. Table to next meeting. Not gonna solve it tonight.
I just like the idea of us having some control over
Well,
other
in this
liquor
particular
businesses
case, you
coming to
got
town.
the control, cause there isn't any.
Right, you can take control tonight, Jason. The question is whether you wanna issue a license for another liquor store coming into town.
Yeah, but I don't like it, somebody can sit on this for 3 years and not do anything with it
That's-
and hold
that's
that
the other
license.
concern I have.
just- I don't like that at all.
Yeah,
Well, they can't sit on it for 3 years.
How long, well, I thought there wasn't a time
They-
limit on it.
But they have to renew it every year, so.
they're still paying.
It would come up for renewal next year. and
Okay.
then
so is that what we
You
could,
might choose not to renew it. at
because
that
that'd be
point,
my
because
only
they haven't
concern.
used
Let's,
it.
I got you.
let's say we
Okay.
give this license to, because we legally had to, we give this license to them, they don't build anything, and this other store that wants to come in, Rudy's is a nice store, I'll just use that as an example. Rudy's is a really nice store. Let's say somebody's gonna come in and build something that's bigger and nicer and just beautiful, and people come from areas around because there's such a wide variety of
A
things to
Benny's.
get. What's that?
A Benny's, let's say.
So let's say they do that. So let's say they do that. I'd hate to be the one that's holding them up because we're waiting on somebody else that we've already given a license to that has no intention of building
Well, and
anything.
you wouldn't have to hold them up. You could have a meeting and discuss and increase the license by one and give it to them.
Or say no.
Anytime you can do that.
But on the other hand, I don't wanna fill the city with liquor stores. And, because I think that's what some of the other businesses were talking about here, is they didn't want to spread the economic opportunity so thin to where people are going to other establishments for gaming terminals and things like that.
Shall we move on? Is there anything under old business? Public comments?
Lisa Carrico again. First, I do want to thank the city for trying something different and something new, like the car show. However, I'm hoping in the future that you really take a way to utilize the whole business district, not downtown, business district. There are other ways I think that the cars could have been set out, the cars could have been down one row, the food trucks staggered on the other side, opening up the parking lot for parking, and let people stroll down to see what we have to offer. There was a block at the end that was shut down with 5 businesses on that block that was never utilized. And the barricade stayed up till it was done. So I'm thinking that there could be more, I don't know, just more ideas on how to spread this stuff and not just keep it at Seneca Square, and somehow spread it down through the business district. Or if not, at least remove barricades when there's nobody there.
Lisa, we, just like anything, there are some things that don't work out. You know, next year we'll take a look at correcting some of those things, so we include everybody. One of the, and it's been mentioned that we should move the, you know, spread the food trucks out. Up here by the parking lot is where we've got the, we're able to plug into our electric grid. Can't do it in some other places down the street. We'll look at different things. We understand that with every venture, we're gonna do some good things and we're gonna make some mistakes. We'll go back and take a look. The couple of things we're gonna do is we're gonna move it back. We don't need to be in competition with the car show in Morris or Mendota Sweet Festival. How we can spread those cars out so we include everybody. We understand that. And that was an error on our part.
Usually when you start events, they're gonna start small anyway. So I mean, if we start thinking now, the next event, even if it's a small event, how can we utilize the whole business district, not just keeping it in 2 blocks?
Well, actually, we ended up with, if my memory is correct, 104 cars. The car people were saying, oh, we'll have 200. Well, if you take a look at that day, it was a little cloudy, a little rained earlier, and them guys don't want to take them cars out if it's raining, that's for damn sure. But no, we realize we need to do some things differently, and I'm sure we'll sit down and include the businesses in any of our discussions. Commissioners' reports. Mr. Algebright.
I have nothing to report tonight.
I don't have anything, Mayor.
Nothing tonight.
I have a couple good and bad things, mostly good. Start with the good stuff. October 17th will be when the branch shipping will be this year. Next week after that, the 24th of October, will be leaf vac. I do got the report of what happened with the well for the water. We found where the problem was. If you remember, we approved a very large potential bill, depending on what the problems would be. They pulled up, I haven't put the pictures out yet, but I do have them. I was gonna share them on Facebook, of what the well pump looks like and everything. There was not a hole in the pipe. There was not a hole in the basin or anything. There was just a water penetration into one of the electric lines down there, about 540 feet down. So we were already gonna replace the pump. Matter of fact, the guy was surprised that the pump just didn't fail completely, the fact that it was degraded, and we've been using it for a few years, so that's good news. And on top of that, whoever put the well in originally used Schedule 80 steel pipe versus 40, which is significantly thicker. So that means the pipes get to be reused for more years than, more times than Schedule 40. So most of the pipes should be able to get reused. I don't know the total cost yet. The new pump is in stock and is ordered, so I'll have the total cost for that. So the good news is it should be on the lower end of what we expected. A little bit of negative news, the light at the college there on the 29th of August was likely hit by lightning. I say likely is because there is an incredible amount of electrical damage in the controller. Matter of fact, the word I have from the professionals that we brought in was that it is toast. So, however, it does have a safety feature on it that it can operate with the flashing light. So it's gonna be like that for a while. Right now, pricing is expected to be around 25, 35,000. We're working on pricing, and as soon as I have that, I'll have it all. Other than that, that's all I have.
We should rip it out.
Rip out the
I
what?
think everyone in Oglesby would vote for that, but
Just go with the stop sign?
I would agree, because that
Hey.
is the worst light.
Well, I'll tell you what,
Not
man.
the worst light, Bex is number one, but number two is there.
We'll
so.
work, that one, we're working on, I guess I didn't have a report on that, but that's a good point. We are looking at equipment to replace that one. There's some faulty equipment. Every time the power goes out, it resets all the settings, because they have to go in there and manually adjust the amount of time it takes for the sensor to go, and every time the power goes or some issue with it, it trips, resets all those settings. So I'll tell you what, when I bring back the working on pricing, we can bring back a discussion on just taking the light out possibly.
Well, the lights have been in there 30 years, and what the mice haven't eaten, that's, they are too. Okay, I got a few things here. First one on the list is, unfortunately, in thanking those who supported the city's food truck event, I erred and didn't include Claudette's. My apology. I don't know how that happened. I want to recognize the city clerk, her staff, and the events committee, city employees, and all the volunteers that make all our events a success. Unfortunately, for the time being, we're going to have to alter the city's food pantry program at City Hall. The food pantry will be locked. This is unfortunate because it harms the people we are trying to help and need it the most. We will open the doors of the food pantry to anyone who requests it until we come up with a solution to curb the vandalism. Vandals dump boxes and canned goods to the ground at City Hall, Seneca Square, and in the fountain. It's unacceptable. And I'll tell you, unfortunately, the pictures aren't very good of the people that did the damage. September 11th, 2 p.m., the city will host a patriotic band concert at Seneca Square. Please bring the lawn chairs. 9/11 is a date that we shall never forget. The Dickinson House Foundation will have a root beer stand. That's the last date that we could get a band concert. I thought it'd be appropriate, especially at 9/11. And I know the Bears are on, but they come on at 1 o'clock, and 2 o'clock should be a good time. It's also the birthday of one of Oglesby's icon citizens, Sam Leone. I cannot remember when he has not been serving pizza to the Illinois Valley. I also need to recognize Glenn Gerard, the author of Oglesby Sites, for all his pictures and historic work on the city of Oglesby. The city is looking how we can promote Oglesby, that Oglesby is a place to live, visit, a place to dine and have fun. Projects, activities that would market Oglesby as the place to come. One of the things we got done is pickleball thing is all set up, so people that want to play pickleball could go up there. Cully and I will get together to try to come up with different things that we can do to entice people to come to Oglesby. And I know one of the things we really have to do is get our signage together. And we have had a snow cone truck, Tropical Ice, inquire about setting up their truck at the Four Corners, Walnut and Columbia, for the 2023 season. Need to let me know what you think. I've had some questions about the fraternity building. Second floor is completed, 5 apartments rented. There's 1 or 2 of the lofts have been completed, they're not rented yet. First floor businesses, some of that's up in the air because of the low river. with that, that's all I have. And, I need a motion and second to go into closed session. 5 ILCS 120/2, parentheses C, parentheses 1. The appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of a specific employee of the public body or legal counsel of the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee of the public body or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity. However, a meeting to consider an increase in compensation to a specific employee of a public body that is subject to the local government wage increase Transparency Act may not be closed session and shall be open to the public and posted and held in accordance with the act.
I will make that motion.
Second.
Albright,
Aye.
Cullinan. Curran.
Aye.
Udis.
Aye.
Morrow.
Aye.
When's that? No, oh my God, it's on the bicycle, all the stuff's still there.
Put it on the agenda.
I could kind of figure that out.
Showing there were two things he was told,
No, I
and
probably
he was told not to help.
Not on the seventh.
About the shed in the garage or something, I guess. I heard about the automobiles.
Yeah.
Why haven't I heard this?
So if there is stuff that he was supposed to take and didn't,
My, no, my understanding was that he was gonna take everything except, I know he couldn't take it. I know that was the rule. Let me find if that's the case. Because the more he takes, the less we have to clean up. Let me find out about that. Because if he can take it, I prefer him to take it.
you would prefer it too, but I'm just saying.
Okay, I'll find out about
Want
that.
to take stuff that,
No, I understand.
because a few times he came and asked if he had permission to do this, and he said yes.
I'll find out.
So find out for
Okay.
sure, and
I thought we were still waiting on
the
stuff.
mayor lives down the road from him, so
I'll find out. How can I help you? That would not be my plan, unfortunately. I thought it was gonna be silly. Well, I would start with the post office first. Oh, this will be it. I don't know who's the fucking, if it's not the mayor, it's not the, even the mayor of the post office, unfortunately. I mean, I'd be happy to help you with anything, but I don't want to overstep my bounds, because you can see, I keep my mouth open too much as it is. So I would recommend talking with the mayor at some point in time when he has a schedule for it, because I'm not sure who the fuck that falls into. Whose area do you think it falls into if somebody is in violation of a area?
Well, I'll tell you what area property you talking about?
Grass is too tall.
You live on the corner. Well, I'll tell you what. Let me just ask you this.
I'm not trying to pawn you off on the mayor.
No.
Yes, sir, how are you?
I'll even try to sit down and see what your neighbors are doing. You gotta run and done that.
We're going on both days. That's not good time. Well, it's different. Well, it's different this year with, are you still having to spread it out? They have the Bernard.
I don't really like to get into
Instead of Friday, because usually it was like, yeah, Thursday. And 80% of the people in the room are like, that's us, that's us, that's us. All the bigger cities were not there. So then they're like, we're gonna look into that and get back to you. And nobody was gonna follow me. So I'm gonna ask the question, hey, last year, the question was asked, can we go over the definition of that now? So, I think from what I understand, it doesn't apply. I think that was reporting from last year. What's going on? Did I approve the meeting there? Good to go?
7 a.m. tomorrow.
Oh, where are you flying to?
Cleveland. Oh boy.
Cleveland.
I got upgraded though, it's gonna be okay.
First class? Nice. How'd you pull that off?
I fly so much now. 3 out of the last 4 flights.
Got the
have been
points.
First class, I love it.
Who you flying with?
American.
You ever had any pilots not show up yet? Because I'm told that's a thing, but.
I need a motion and second to go back into regular session.
I'll make a motion to go back into open session.
Second.
Albright.
Aye.
Cullinan.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye.
Udis.
Aye.
Rivera.
Aye. I need a motion and second to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Albright.
Aye.
Cullinan. Curran.
Aye.
Udis.
Aye.
Rivera.
Aye.
We did wait on a flight attendant for 2 hours on time now. I'm like, come on, man, where you at?
You should say, I'll make my own drinks, it's all good. I'll just go and keep my